In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can actually speed up your metabolism and show you the 6-step process to get your metabolism to handle more calories while you get leaner. What's up, guys? It's Anthony from AB Fitness Center here, where we help you to lose body fat, gain muscle, and get stronger. Guys, if you're ready for this episode, it's going to be a good one. So just make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never, ever miss a beat and you get the best information, the most applicable information as soon as possible. So if you don't hit that subscribe button, you're not going to get that stuff. So you need that. So, all right, let's talk about this. The 6-step system. So handling your more calories, what does that even mean? So I want to talk about maximizing your metabolism today. So maximizing your metabolism actually means is that you want your body to be able to lose as much body fat as possible on as high amount of calories as you can. Because when you do that, it makes dieting a lot more easier. So typically, I'm going to show you this 6-step system that you can begin today to start handling more calories and losing more fat. So first and foremost, let's start with step number 1, which is to determine your maintenance calories. So first and foremost, if you don't know how many calories you're maintaining your body on, you're already a step behind everybody else. So what I would do in this case is you want to make sure that you want to put everything that you eat in MyFitnessPal. So download MyFitnessPal. It's a really cool app. It's very easy to use. Download MyFitnessPal and put everything you eat into MyFitnessPal for 3 to 4 days. Okay? Doesn't matter. Don't try to hit any calorie limit. Just put what you're eating in there. And also, while you're doing that, get on the scale every morning. I've talked about this in other videos, but the best time to weigh yourself is in the morning, right after making number 1 and number 2, and before drinking anything. Because most people will make number 1, they'll go downstairs or whatever, they'll have a cup of coffee, whatever, they'll go number 2, and then they'll get on the scale. You want to try to do 1 and 2 right away, okay, if you can, and then just weigh yourself. That's usually the best time to do it. It's the most accurate measurement you can get. If you can't go number 2, and this is becoming a whole episode on number 1 and number 2, but if you can't go number 2 in the morning, just keep it consistent. Go number 1 right away, get on the scale. As long as you're consistent, that's the most important thing. But neither here nor there. Weigh yourself both those, all 3, 4 of those days. And then what you're going to do at the end of those 3 or 4 days, you're going to take the averages of all those. So let's just say, for example, again, I'm terrible at math, guys, so I'm probably going to blow this, but let's say on Monday you had 2,000 calories, on Tuesday you had 3,000 calories, on Wednesday you had 2,500 calories. If you take that divided by 3, the average is, whatever that number is, 2,500. I don't know, I'm horrible at math. So let's just say that that's what it is, right? Okay, so that's your average calories you're consuming. Now you look at your weight and you do the same thing with your weight. Add up all 3 days, divide by 3, that's going to give you your average weight. Now, that'll kind of determine your maintenance calories. If you notice over time that your weight starts going up, that means those calories are too high. If your weight's going down, that means you're actually losing fat. So you want to find your maintenance. Okay, once you find your maintenance, next step number 2, is you want to determine your protein intake. Okay, you want to figure out how many grams of protein you need per day. So typically, I like anywhere between 1 gram to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So for example, if you weigh 200 pounds, you want anywhere between 200 and, cheating guys. So 200 times 1.5, so 300 grams of protein, all right? So you want anywhere between 200 to 300 grams of protein. Again, that's gonna range, everybody's a little bit different, but that's typically the range you wanna fall in. If you like more protein, then go on the higher end, okay? Then next, what we're going to do is, and actually I skipped a step here, you found your maintenance calories before. So we averaged it, we figured out it was 2,500. So now we figured out that we need 200 grams of protein from that number. Okay, then we look at fat, and I want you to take anywhere between 20 and 30% of your calories to get the amount of fat. So I got my handy calculator. I should probably keep this with me more often when I do these videos. So 2,500 times 0.20, that gives you 500 calories. Okay, divide that by 9 because there's 9 calories per gram. That gives you 55 grams of fat on the low end and then probably up to 70 on the high end. So again, there's a range again. And then you're going to fill the rest of those calories from carbs. So again, rough math, let's just say You have 1,500 calories remaining. Divide that by 4, because it's 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates, and that would put you at 375. Again, these are just arbitrary numbers I'm just pulling out of the air as we speak, not necessarily whatever, but you kind of get the idea, right? That's kind of the formula. I'll put the formula below into the comment section here, so you could, in the description, so you guys can follow along with that. But you get the idea, right? So the next step, what you're going to do, step number 3, is you want to follow this protocol for 2 weeks, and you want to see what happens to your body. Do you gain weight during that time? Do you lose weight during that time? If you lose weight during that time, then that means that you're in a calorie deficit. If you gain weight during that time, that means you're in a calorie surplus. And if your weight stays the same, that's maintenance. And that's exactly where you want to be. So the perfect part to do this, to maximizing your metabolism, would be to do it after a fat loss phase. So let's say you reached your fat loss goals, and now, okay, I'm lean enough, I'm happy with where I am, what do I do next? You can't jump right back to what you were doing before. So what we do in this case is we begin right here, maximizing your metabolism. So what you're going to do is, once you find that maintenance calories, or where your body's actually staying still, you're not losing, you're not gaining, what you're going to do is you're going to add a small amount of either carbs or fat in, and the amounts are going to vary. Everybody's a little different, but anywhere between 5 and 10 grams of carbohydrates, or anywhere between 3 and 5 grams of fat every week. All right, so I know it's it doesn't seem like much, but over time, what's going to happen, you'll end up building up your metabolism. This is the first steps in maximizing your metabolism. So step number 4, we're going to adjust until we either maintain or lose. So for example, let's say I'm starting this and my carbs are at 200 grams of carbohydrates a day. Now I add 10 grams of carbs in. After a week of doing this, I get on the scale. I notice that my weight is exactly the same. That means that added calories to my system that we put in, those 10 grams of carbs, my body has quote unquote accepted it, and it has raised my metabolic rate to match that. Okay? So that means that my body accepted it. So then at that point, I would add either again 5 or 10 grams of carbohydrates and repeat that process. Now, sometimes what actually happens is, as you start adding in more food, your fat burning hormones start to boost up a little bit. So sometimes you actually get a fat burning effect from this. So sometimes after a week of doing this, you'll notice your weight actually went down. And this is common with a lot of people. So I have a lot of clients who I do this with, and they hit their fat loss goals, and then we start raising their metabolic rate and slowly adding food back in, and they actually start losing more body fat than when they were dieting. And it's because those fat hormones turn back on. So you want to do this as slow as possible. You know, I know what you're thinking right now. Okay, so if I didn't gain weight for 7 days, I'm just going to add 20 carbs, or I'm going to just keep doing this. Take your time with this. Anywhere between 5 and 10 grams of carbs. It's a tedious process. Let's say you did 5 grams of carbs every week. At the end of the month, that's 25 grams of carbs that adds up. At the end of 2 months, that's 50 carbs. At the end of 3 months, that's 75 carbs added to your day. So if you started a fat loss at 200 grams, now you're at 275 after 3 months, and your weight is either the same or you've actually lost more body fat. So this is the benefit of maximizing your metabolism. You want your metabolism to be able to lose and maintain weight on as many calories as possible, because it makes the whole process of this 10 times easier. All right? So the more calories you can consume, the more muscle you're going to be able to maintain while dieting and everything else as well. So step number 5, I believe I'm up to 5. Step number 5 is, when you feel like you've reached that tipping point of this, where you actually start putting on a little bit more body fat, what you want to do is you want to begin dieting now. Okay, you want to go back into a dieting phase. And when you shift back into a dieting phase, the only thing you got to do is minus 500 calories from your total. So let's say, for example, I ended dieting at 2,000 calories. I worked my way up to 3,000 calories over a couple months. Now I'm going to start dieting again, and I start dieting at 2,500. So as you can see, just maximizing my metabolism for this long of a time period, I was able to raise how many calories I can diet on the next time around. Again, you're going to go through cycles like this, but every time you kind of want to walk those calories up and up and up. Again, like I said, it'll make the process a lot easier, and I'll give you a little example in a little bit. But the step number 6 to all of this is, do not rush the process. You want to keep your metabolism fast the whole time while you're trying to lose body fat. Don't go very, very slow. if you're adding these calories in, same thing happens when you begin dieting. Don't pull them all away right away. So for example, if we walk your carbs up to 300 per day and you start dieting, okay, I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to start at 150. You defeated the whole purpose. So go slow. Pull carbs away very, very slowly, the same way we added them back in. So I'll give you a good example, a good real life example for this. Hopefully it'll be able to tie it all in. I know throwing numbers out there, it's a little confusing, but me, for example, so the heaviest I've ever gotten was 217 pounds. I usually sit around 195, 190-ish, 200, depends when I was competing in powerlifting, around 205. So that's like my typical weight. So the heaviest I've ever bulked myself up to was 217. And in order for me to do that, I really had to keep pushing the calories up and up and up. So I was gaining on like 5,800 calories a day. And that's a lot of calories. Sounds fun to those of you who are dieting. It's not. It's miserable. But neither here nor there, right? I bulked myself up to 217. So at 217, I just felt really uncomfortable with myself. I said, okay, this weight is it's really heavy. I'm just not used to being this. I wasn't as lean as I wanted to be. So I began dieting. And I started dieting. Literally, I did what we just talked about. I literally took 5,800 calories that I was having every day. And because it was so high, I dropped it to 5,200. Did that right away. That was like my first week. Boom, I lost a couple pounds. I kept it the same. A couple weeks, same. I was able to maintenance. I hit maintenance again, and I dropped more calories again, and then I just kept going. By the time I was done dieting, I got down to around 190, ripped, and I was dieting on 3,600 calories. Okay, so now you get the idea of what's going on here. So can you imagine dieting on 3,600 calories? That's the goal of all this. Now, I'll also tell you what happened after this. So now I got to 3,600 calories at 190, and I said, okay, I like the way I look. I'm just going to maintain it. So I didn't maximize my metabolism. I kind of stayed at that level. So 3,600, I was comfortable there, 36, and maybe I went up and down a little bit to 4,000. I didn't go high because I didn't want to put on a bunch of body fat. And I went to diet again. I got maybe to like 205, and I said I want to diet down again. And now I'm starting to diet at 3,600 calories as opposed to 5,800. So I didn't maximize my metabolism there. So when I dieted again, it was on a lot less calories. And then again, I don't remember what did I ended that calorie phase with, but probably like 2,900 calories. So you get the idea, right? So the purpose of this is to maximize your metabolism to handle as much food as possible. So when you go to get into another fat burning phase, you're doing it on more calories. So this is the goal for all this. So what I would do, and I'll summarize everything for you right now. So if you're dieting right now and you hit your fat loss goal, you say, perfect, okay, I'm exactly where I want to be. What you got to begin doing is to maximize your metabolism. Slowly start adding food back in, whether it's, again, 5 to 10 grams of carbs every week based on what your body says. So if I add 10 carbs into your diet right now this week and your weight goes up and your body fat goes up, we are not touching that anymore. We're leaving it there at that level until you level everything out. Then after maybe another week, maybe 2 weeks from that point, your weight starts to level and then you maybe even lose a little bit, then I add a little bit back in. Sometimes that happens. Everybody's a little bit different, but go slow with this process. And remember, because your metabolism is never a static thing. It's never going to stay on one number. It's always going to move around, okay? You're always kind of chasing that moving target. So if you kind of stagnate your calories, same thing's going to happen. You're going to stagnate. So you always got to be kind of going up and going down, going up and going down. But every time you're going to net more and more calories. All right. So again, hopefully that helps you guys. I hope I didn't confuse anybody. Like I said, I'll put all the formulas and stuff in the description below so you guys can look back on that. But hopefully this had made sense to you because again, this is something that I've done with clients, with myself, and it has paid off in dividends. It kind of stinks when you're trying to gain weight because you got to really push those calories up. But I guess that's third world problems. It's a bad problem to have. Guys, I know I talk really fast. You got to listen fast, all right? I'm from New York. That's how it goes. All right, guys, so hopefully you like this video. Remember, don't forget to subscribe. This way you never miss a beat and you get top-notch information like this every single time. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Maximize your metabolism.